Hey, I wanted to speak today about the stages necessary to achieve vibrancy in your life because there's so much happening around you that does has a overall emotional impact on how you make progress because there's life that's happening. You have the burden of maintaining a family, maintaining a job, maintaining livelihood altogether. And on one aspect, you have to serve as some a level of a beacon of light that other people get to benefit from. And on the other aspect, you have to be fully aware of your internal mechanics, right? So I'm coming to you today to try to shine some light on the parts that you've neglected as a default mechanism, right? For you to be able to cope because, your sensory output or sensory input does not have the full capacity to take in everything simultaneously at the same time. Right. So things have to be now segmented and you have to be able to prioritize some certain things, right? So that you can give your undivided attention to them in the time that you're giving it to it. Right. So, and most times when we are prioritizing life in this fashion, we leave the most important thing. Like we forget about the most important thing, which is ourselves. Right. And understanding that also that we're a limited resource. So if you're not intentional about recharging yourself, like plugging yourself back in, like the same way you plug your phone, right? Plugging yourself back in to recharge, then eventually you're going to be depleted. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like that's exactly what happens to a lot of us. So now the really point of this now is looking for a way, like a conducive way, right? Or strategy or set of things that you can do over time to recharge yourself and increase your vibration. Like make sure that you're elevated in your mindset at all times because it's necessary. It's necessary. It's what happens to us in the absence of that. What happens to us now, we go into complete overwhelm. We go into burnout. We go into situations where the brain fog and everything. We talk about, your food and your sleep habits, your exercise habits. But if you're not intentional about recharging, if you're not intentional about increasing your vibration or having your mindset be at an elevated state, regardless of the circumstances that are around you, it's inevitable. Like you falling short of what's necessary to keep you afloat is inevitable. You're going to crash. You're either going to crash in your emotions or you're going to crash, socially, like you're going to be secluded or you're going to be as flustered to where now you start having, lashing out on the people that love you, right? You start lashing out on the people that love you. So I'm saying that there's necessary things that you need to do on a daily basis to keep you from reaching that tipping point to where you become overwhelmed, right? And the first thing that everybody would tell you is like, okay, no, you have to be conscious of what you eat and eat your crisps, your vegetables, and maintain a healthy diet and carnivore, whatever it is that you're doing. Get proper sleep, get sun, get grounding. And I said all that is good if you have the right frame of mind. If you have the right frame of mind, if you're not looking at these things that you have to do as a chore, like it cannot be a chore for you to like, yo, I gotta go exercise. I don't like it. Because the alternative is that you ultimately burn out. The alternative is that you ultimately start to lash out on the ones that you're supposed to love, right? So the long and short of it is that you have life that's happening to you. You have a finite amount of willpower, time in the day, and everything else. So it's necessary that the amount of time that you have in the day, it's vital that you maximize it. And there are certain ways and strategies that you do that. And the ways that you do that, it starts from here and nowhere else. Like you have to set the stage. You have to set the parameters. You have to set the criteria for which you're going to attack the world in. I use the word attack loosely because the reality of it, sometimes the world's attacking you. Not sometimes, all the time the world is attacking you. Everything, all the programmings that are happening out there in the world are geared towards one objective: to have you under subjection, to have you in a state where you are bending to the will of capitalism or consumerism, whatever that is. So now you have to take the reins back of your life and still keep an elevated mindset so that the people around you can flourish. You understand what I'm saying? And it's this topsy turvy type situation where you always in a balancing act of trying to make sense of the world, right? And this is the reason why people talk about, okay, you have to meditate, you have to be in a constant state of awareness and calm in your spirit before you start the day. So now that I've rambled and I've, got all the premise, like I've laid the foundation for what it is that we need to talk about, let me really emphasize on the point that I really came to share with you guys, outside of the awarenesses and the choices that you do have to make, outside of the the awareness and the choices that you do have to make, um the intentionality behind it, your meditation. I really think that, in my humble opinion, what's really required for you to stay in a state of elevation is seeing the world through the lens of you having to give. The same way you always, when you look at your child, you look at a newborn baby and you look at that baby and you're like, I will do anything for you in the world. I know Eric Thomas, that's your why. I'm saying look at the entire world from that lens, so that when you step out into the day, you know that you're recharging so that you can be the best version of yourself that the rest of the world gets to benefit from. That's literally the premise. I don't know if anyone has reminded you or told you, but you have greatness on the inside of you. Like, you carry a gift unique to you and you only, that God gave you to flourish in the world so that everyone else gets to benefit from. Like, nobody was created like you. Nobody has the abilities that you have. And the sad part about that is somebody is actually waiting for you to unleash what's inside of you so that they can use that as a catalyst for them to move and grow. Like, someone is actually waiting for you. So when you are more concerned with the narratives, when you are more self-absorbed to the things that are not happening for you, or now you actually are promoting worry, gossip, right, in your life, the further you go away from God's plan, the further, the more people you draw alongside with you that you're not even conscious of. Let me say that again. The further you remove yourself from God's original design, the more people you're dragging along with you that you're not even aware of. The reason why I can say that comfortably is there are people on here that speak so much life into others. That energy transfer gives them the ability now to go be better people in their life. And it's a feedback loop system that continues to give, right? So you not being cognizant, or you not really stepping into the fullness of what is necessary for you to flourish in yourself, you're I won't say rob, but then again, you are impeding someone else's progress. And it could be someone that loves you or someone that you love, and you're not knowing that you holding on to the gift which God has given you is impeding their growth, right? So setting the stage for yourself on a daily basis, being very mindful and cognizant that everything that you do is geared towards the rest of the world around you to create impact so that they flourish. I think that's top of mind. In my opinion, that should be top of mind on a daily basis. And that's where you get your fuel from. That's what fuels your spirit. So as we draw this conversation to a close, the one thing that I can say with all confidence and love is that anything and everything that's done from a perspective of love, that is done from the perspective of loving your neighbor just as you love yourself, will always find the hearts of the people that it needs to bless. You would always be a blessing to someone else. And the way that the universe works, the way that God works through the universe is you would always be replenished. You would always find something to give. Like, the scripture says, I've never seen a child, the righteous, beg for bread. Like, the reality of it is, if you can step into that belief, you can step into that knowing, you would always have to give. But I also think that within that space, not trying to be religious or anything, within that space, it's imperative of you to operate in a full state, a flow state, right? And your mind always has to be working on what to do for people other than yourself, such that when you're no longer self-absorbed, you are no longer boggled down by rumination. You're no longer boggled down by worry. Because I was just saying, like, worry is so powerful that if you could just shift the lens a tad bit like this here, like if you could shift the lens of worry to the point of forecasting. Like I just saw the movie Air with I forgot his name, but he was talking to Jordan in the meeting, and he said he had this powerful speech, and he was like, let me tell you your future. And he gives him the rundown of what life is going to be like and how he's going to win championships, and told him at the end, well, people are going to build you. It's the American story. People are going to build you up, but unfortunately, the same people that built you up are going to tear you down. And where they tear you down, will you have the mental fortitude? Will you have the mental capacity to be able to remain in that state of flow, in that state of creation, to be the highest version of yourself? Are you going to be able to operate at a state of excellence at all times? And it was so powerful for me, because it's just like, if we spent a fraction of the time that we used to complain, the fraction of the time that we used to gossip, to forecast our life, to create a destiny with the reality attached to it, that whatever is happening in my life today cannot be it. This can't be it. Like, my life about to be better. My life about to be better. But so my life gonna be better, I'm gonna make sure that someone else's life is better. Right? Because at some point we really have to step away from the narrative of like, oh, we plan it, and God has plans for us to win, and God has plans for us to, at some point, like I said, I was talking about it. I don't know who I listened to. I think Neville Goddard or someone along those lines, like Neil, I forgot his name. But he said, if you were to crack the code, create an environment where it is the thing that you're seeking, you want to give it away. The thing that you're seeking, like, you want to give it away, right? So I'm saying, if you are in the state of, if your mindset is put together in such a unique manner that the things that you want out of life, you're looking to create that for someone else, then you will always have something to create. I love y'all. For the people that are on here, I really don't know how this thing works, so I couldn't actually see the people to actually really appreciate y'all for spending this time with me. But again, yes, I love you from the bottom of my heart. I will see y'all in the next video. If you have any questions, comments, feel free, leave them here. I've never done this before. This is the first time. So again, I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good day, y'all.